So, say a couple of words. I won't take too much of your time. Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. As the Shut Arav, first of all, the amount of Torah, Baruch Hashem, that's been learned, L'Shchut Shlomo ben Rivka, has been enormous. We started a shiur at Asaf's house 3 months ago, which Baruch Hashem has reached many, many people. We put it on the internet, put it on our website, bezatashem.org, and a lot of people, Baruch Hashem, have actually started doing tshuva. A few people started converting. A few people have mamash fixed their lives. So a lot of Torah has been learned in his school just in the last few months, and of course, obviously, in the last year. Now, the last couple of times I spoke here, we spoke for a couple of other occasions. I mentioned a couple of ideas which I think are interesting, which connects with something that I learned today. I think you maybe find interesting. There is a Mishnah in Masechet Negaim, Perek Bet, Mishnah Aleph, where it talks about how if someone has a nega, someone has some type of a discoloration in his skin, or something, in essence it's tzarat, he has to go to the Kohen. He has to go to the Kohen to go check it. Now the question is, what if the Kohen himself has a nega? Where does he go? Can he just check it himself? If you have a house, if you're a builder, and you build houses, and something broke in your house, can you fix your own house? The answer is yes. But the Kohen cannot fix himself. Why? We'll answer with the two other things I said here in the last month. If you remember in Parashat Beshalach, we learned something good and something bad right in the beginning. First we learned that Am Yisrael left Egypt, Baruch Hashem. After being there for 210 years, 116 of them which were slavery, people were leaving there with missing body parts, blind, legs broken, Shem Hashem. Hashem Yitbarach took us out of Egypt with a strong arm. But the parasha starts with the words Vayihi. And the sages Chazal teach us that any time a parasha starts with such a word, it means oivei. It means lo aleinu lo alechem, bad news. Bad news. What could be so bad? You just left slavery. You've been waiting for so long to leave slavery. Good news. No, everyone was crying. Why everybody was crying? Because it says, no, it's before Amalek. We just left Egypt. But this is before. We can't cry about something that didn't happen yet. They're crying about something that happened already. Okay. What are they crying about? It says that only chamushim meaning 1/5, and some of the sages say much less than that, actually left Egypt. 20%. Where did the other 80% go? The other 80% did not want to do tshuva. They didn't want to do tshuva. Hashem says, you don't want my Torah, you don't want to do tshuva, I don't need you. I'm God, I'm already perfect. The whole Torah is for you to become better than what you are right now. You don't want it. Okay, no deal. Now, there are some sages, like Rabbi Neorai, it says, Alvai was 1 out of 5, Alvai was 1 out of 500, Alvai was 1 out of 5,000, but we all know it was much less. The Midrash Me'am Loez goes to the extent of saying, maybe it was 1 out of 500,000 that left Egypt. Shem Rachem, 2 out of 1,000,000. So you and I being here, when they say, 1 out of 1,000,000, yeah, 1 out of 1,000,000. Why? They didn't want to do tshuva. In Parashat Yitro, we said, Vayishma Yitro. Parashat starts, Yitro heard. He heard about what happened in Mitzrayim. like Kvodo said, he heard about Amalek. He decided, Chatanu Avinu Pashanu, we have to do tshuva, I have to go convert. Because of the Mesiut Nefesh that he did, Hashem Yitbarach gave him the zchut that he, in essence, came up with the Chidush of the court system. And he tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you should pick specific people to run the court system. They have to be Anshe Emet, Yirat Shamayim. They have to have a Sonei Batza. They have to hate money, meaning disconnect themselves from materialism. They have to have certain qualities. And most importantly, Anshe Chayim. They have to be successful. Why successful? No one's going to listen to someone that's begging for change in the corner. That's the reality of life. This is why one of the mitzvot, at the time when we had Kohanim, is we had to make the Kohanim very rich. Why? No one's going to listen to a poor Kohen. Midot of Am Yisrael and the whole world have not necessarily changed throughout history. So now, he gave him this advice, but Moshe did not find people with Yirat Shamayim. He did not find people that were Anshe Emet. He did not find people that hated money. He only found Anshe Chayim, people that were successful. So now the three things will connect. Why didn't Am Yisrael, after seeing all of the miracles we saw in Egypt, Ribono shel Olam, Ribono shel Olam, you saw the water turn into blood. When the Egyptian wanted it, you had the water, now you had blood. You used two straws, yours is water, his is blood. It's not like it was like a hidden miracle. Then you saw a giant dinosaur comes, a big frog. They wanted to kill it, more frogs will come out. So much so it's inside their bodies, the Egyptians. You saw hail, like they had in New York today, hail, but different. What? Our hail in Egypt, first of all, didn't touch Am Yisrael. Second of all, even worse. What? It had lava inside it, meaning it's against nature. All types of amazing miracles. Why did you want to tshuva? What's the matter with you? What? You don't believe in God? What do you think? The Egyptians just lost their mind and said, oh, you know what, go away. I'm firing all my employees. Here's a compensation package. Here's a golden parachute. It's okay. Why don't you do tshuva? Second question is, why can't we find anybody with Yirat Shamayim to be in the court system? Why can't we find somebody that's Ish Emet? Why is the only thing we have is money? Anshe Chayim, people that have a little bit of money. Why? Why is it the only thing we have? The entire millions of people, that's all we have? That's all we're good for, money? You ask the Goyim, how many Jews are in the world? They say, maybe 2, 3, 4 billion. No, there isn't. It's probably maybe 15 to 20 million. Like, no, come on, that's a joke. It's 2 billion, 3 billion. How many Muslims? Maybe 20 million. It's the opposite. Why? You ask them, who runs the world? The Jews. Why? They run this one, they run Hollywood, they run the hedge funds, they run Wall Street, they run all these different things, they run the government. How could it be? Well, all we're good for is money, that's it. Anybody wants a lawyer, what does say? I want a Jewish lawyer. Anyone wants a doctor, I want a Jewish doctor. So that's it? That's all we found? After Egypt, the whole thing, everything we learned, it's all we're good for money? How could it be? How could it be that's the only good thing we're good for? And last but not least, the same question we started. Why can't the Kohen check himself? Anyone that comes to him says, is this tzaraat? Yes, go. Yes, no. So obviously he's experienced, an expert. He's an expert, he knows. Why can't he check himself? Well, he doesn't know. The Mishnah Rabotai says, En Adam roe nega al atzmo. A person does not see anything wrong with himself, naturally. And the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 119, says the same exact thing in slightly different words. En adam roe chova leatzmo. Meaning a person could look straight in the mirror, and all he sees is what's wrong with everybody behind him. I'm sorry. All he sees is what's wrong with everybody behind him. Himself, he's a model. He looks good, he's this, he's that, everything is good. He doesn't see anything wrong in himself. Rabotay Karim, Am Yisrael did not do tshuva in Mitzrayim because they figured, listen, if God already saved us till now, He must like us. Look at all the Mesiut Nefesh we had. Look at all the sacrifice we made. We're in Egypt. We don't need to go to the desert. Desert's dangerous. We already dealt with danger for 100 years. Leave us here. Hashem, give us the Torah here. We don't want to go to the desert. Here, give us the Torah. Hashem says, no. Torah has one condition. What's the condition? My condition. I'm God. That's the first commandment. Meaning, I call the shots. That's the first and most important mitzvah that you need to know out of everything in the world. Why? Because if somebody does a mitzvah when he's not obligated, versus somebody that does a mitzvah when he is obligated, the schar, logically, to our rational sense, should mean that the guy that's not obligated should get a bigger schar. But it's wrong. The guy that's not obligated, he gets the biggest schar. Why? Because he did what God commanded. You might learn Torah because you like it, but that's not the reason you should be learning Torah. You should be learning Torah because you have to. You might like Shabbat because it's a one-day-a-week vacation for free. But the reality of why you keep Shabbat is because you have to. The reason why we need to know that we have to do the mitzvot is because during difficult times, when we don't feel like doing it anymore, when we don't like Shabbat anymore, we don't like kosher food anymore, when we don't whatever, the Yetzirah comes in. If a whole religion, a whole connection to Hashem Yitbarach is based on liking it or not liking it, one day we're not going to like it. And that's how people fall. Am Yisrael used their brain. And they said, listen, we had Mesirut Nefesh, we suffered, we this, we that. Enough! We don't need to go to the desert. Hashem says, rule number one, you don't make the rules. I do. You don't want to do tshuva? I don't need you. Hashem Elachem. Am Yisrael, you want to be in the court system? You have to have all these qualities. They still, again, this is the best of them. The best of them. They were actually the ones that actually survived. The 1 out of 500 or 500,000 or whatever it was. The best of them still did not get the point yet. Still did not get the point yet. And still did not work on the Yirat Shamayim. Still did not work on why they really have to do the mitzvot. Why, Rabotai? Why didn't they do it? Because every time they looked in the mirror, they saw nothing wrong. They saw nothing wrong. Now, at the end of Parashat Yitro, we got the commandments. It's the highlight, like Kvod Arav said, it's the highlight of the entire Torah. I mean, you can read this Parashat 1.5 million times and still get Chidushim. Highlight of the Torah, the 10 Commandments. Wow, amazing. They saw the kolot, they saw Hashem's voice. They literally saw the voice. They saw the voice, not just heard it like us. They saw the voice, they saw the sounds. Wow! He says, I'm the only God, don't have any other gods, don't use my name in vain, keep Shabbat. We have the whole commandments, great. But then after the whole amazing part, what do we hear? Don't replace me with Elohei HaKesef, Elohei HaZahav. Well, we heard it already though. You said, no, hey, no other gods. That should mean the same thing, no? He says, no. Doesn't mean the same thing. Why? 10 Commandments was an event that happened. Don't replace me with Elohei HaKesef, Elohei HaZahav is to us, Rabotai. Everything is to us. But Elohei HaKesef, Elohei HaZahav is the key ingredient that has killed us from day one. Connecting to materialism to such an extent that we forgot about God. After Yam Suf, the amazing miracles that we saw, all the amazing things that we saw, we crossed the ocean, we saw the Egyptians getting killed, everything was great. Moshe Rabbeinu was singing, everyone's singing, and then what happens? Everybody leaves. What are they looking for? They're going to the beach. Why? There's gold there. They left God to go to the beach to collect gold. Don't you realize that He's the one that gave it to you, the one that you're leaving? No, 1 second, God, 1 second. We got to get a few $1 million each. We got to get a few $1 million. They saw nothing wrong with this. And this is why this week's parasha starts with Elu HaMishpatim. These are the ordinances, these are the laws you put in front of them. Rashi al Makom says, tell them the truth to their face. Tell them everything. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't use euphemisms. And Rabbi Yisrael Mishalan says, when someone comes to you and says, listen, I'm ready to do tshuva, what should I tell him? Should I just tell him, maybe you should keep kosher, and then 6 months from now I'll tell him Shabbat, and then 6 months from now I'll tell him Tarat Mishpacha, and then 6 months from then I'll tell him about something else? Rabbi Yisrael Mishalan says, tell him everything. Why? He's obligated to do everything. Whether he does it or not, it's his choice. It's his issue. But you can't choose for him what he can handle, what he can't handle. Why? Because you're looking at it from your own perspective. And if we only use your own perspective, you don't see anything wrong with yourself anyway. So what are you going to tell him? You're going to tell him the things you like. Oh, you should keep Shabbat. Why? Because you like Shabbat. Oh, you should keep Tarat Mishpacha. Because you like Tarat Mishpacha. Oh, you should keep kosher. Because you like kosher food. Oh, you should study Torah. Because you like studying Torah. You cannot be a Navi. You cannot be a prophet. What you have to do is you have to first and foremost understand he's obligated to do everything. You tell him what he has to do. He picks and chooses. He's an adult. He can pick and choose. This I can do, this I can do, this not yet, this I can do, this I can do, so on and so forth. He's an adult. Same thing we do with a convert. You ask, even though they tell him a few basic mitzvot in the beginning, they don't change it. They don't say, listen, for now you can drive on Shabbat. There's no such thing. Shabbat, they say, what if somebody is a convert, and in reality, he was still, after he converted, he still lived with the Goyim. So when he came to you, he was still Mechalel Shabbat. What do? Well, it says he never converted. Why? If he doesn't know Shabbat, then obviously he doesn't know anything. He doesn't need to know all the mitzvot. We don't have to give him the biggest mitzvot and all the laws on day one, but you have to give him some foundation. Now, all of the basics are for the rest of Am Yisrael. What about us that are already in the system? Rabotai Karim, the most important thing that a person needs to understand when he does tshuva, whether it's now, yesterday, tomorrow, 20 years ago, whenever it was, is that the mitzvot are supposed to improve our character traits. If the Torah that you're learning is just improving your ability to remember nice stories, you know a few chidushim, but you still have horrible midot, you should know, all you've become is a Talmid Chacham with midot raot. And what does the Gemara say about somebody who's a Talmid Chacham with midot raot? Nevela sucha tova mimeno. A dead animal in the middle of the street is better than him. Why? Before he actually didn't have Torah. There's a lot of excuses. Huh? So the reality is, when someone does not work on his midot, he does not work on his midot because he doesn't have Torah, we don't blame him. Why? He has no instructions. So where is he going to listen to Tony Robbins? Where is he going to get good midot from? Where is he going to get good midot from? From the Goyim that celebrate the Super Bowl and they're kissing a statue? Where are you going to learn good midot? But if you already learned Torah, but you still have horrible midot, you're still stingy, you're still angry, you're still everything else, what did you learn? A history book? This, Rabotai, is one of the most important things that everybody has to include into their Torah. Learning Musar is not a nice thing to do. It's an obligation. And that's why the Vilna Gaon, Allah Shalom, said, to fix your midot, that's the entire purpose of your life. It's the entire purpose of your life. So one of his Talmidim asked him, for the Rav, if to fix your midot is the entire purpose of your life, then why is it one of the 613 mitzvot? The answer, all of the mitzvot, if you do them right, they're supposed to fix your midot. Which means if they're not fixing our midot, we're doing something wrong. Be'ezrat Hashem, this will all help us wake up a little bit, add a little bit of musar to our learning every single day. Ilu nishmato, Be'ezrat Hashem, get all of us to do tshuva.